Hi everybody, my name is Mary Nodine. I'm with the Federal Highway Administration, and I have been a poet on the topic of soils and rock for many years now. I've been the geo-poet for the Geo Institute's publication Geostrata since 2008. And so I'm going to be doing a little poetry reading for you. Hopefully this will be the first of many. But this poem here, I have it on my phone. I'm doing this from the 2024 IFC conference. This poem is on the very timely topic of foundation reuse, which I think is exciting because we have a brand new DFI committee on foundation reuse. So I can dedicate this here to Andy Bachman, the new chair. This poem is titled A Second Chance. An aging bridge, the DOT could see its years were numbered. Steel beams corroding slowly, massive piers a spalling mess. The piles heard the rumors from deep down in the channel. This talk of bridge replacement caused them slowly rising stress. Designed with extra steel to combat future section loss and driven to refusal 85 long years ago, these piles sailed through load tests with gently bending curves, stout and strong foundations to support the soaring road. The piles had it in them to outlive the bridge above, but their escalating ages made the engineers feel wary. The faded installation records increased hesitation, never mind, of course, the fact that their entire length was buried. A champion would be needed to showcase their potential, an advocate for non-destructive tests that could be run, to demonstrate that solid steel exists from tip to toe. The superstructure may be tired, but the foundation isn't done. Reuse of these supports can help the new bridge get built faster. Extra tests and engineering cost far less than brand new steel. Repurposing what's there will surely benefit the owner, and a lower carbon footprint only sweetens up the deal. But who will dare to say that there's more life in these old piles? Who will guide the conscientious owner to conclude that reuse of these foundations is a win-win-win solution for the piles, people, earth? Brave engineer, will it be you? Thank you very much for listening and watching, and hopefully there will be more of these to come in the future. And I hope many of you are able to attend IFC. It's been a great event.
Hello everyone, I'm Lucky Nagarajan. I'm here with Luigi Rosa, who is the AVP of Frederick Douglass Tunnel at Amtrak. Luigi has over 25 years of experience in United States, Europe, and Middle East. He is known to bring attitude, vision, and perseverance to the team. Welcome to the interview with the industry, Luigi Rosa. I'm super excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to speak with you today. Thank you.
So before we start, I do want to ask you, what is your role as an AVP for one of the major infrastructure projects in the country?
Yes, so my role basically is managing the overall investment and making sure we get the job done, and more importantly, we deliver the project and all the benefits that this important program is planning to deliver. And I'm responsible for ensuring the successful delivery of the program and its benefits. But also, more importantly, I'm also, along with my team, responsible for making sure we help Amtrak to build the capacity to manage a current and future capital program. And this aspect of my role is something that I really like, because I like to mentor my team and to share my experience. So it's really important to me to help my organization.
That is amazing. Earlier today at the George Fox conference, you presented to us the past, present, and future of Frederick Douglass Tunnel.
Yeah.
And one thing that stuck to my heart, if I can say, is when you mentioned the more important of the project is the people, not just the people who work on the projects, but at the same time, the people, the community where we are building this, for whom we are building this. I really enjoyed listening to that. It's very important for any project that we are planning from now to many years to come to safeguard the community that we live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we are engineers, project managers, and sometimes we are focused on, the technical matters. But the reality is, there's a large capital investment and large program, they, at the end of the day, they bring opportunities and they bring benefits for the people, for the community, and that's, to me, it's very inspirational, and I think it's the best part of my job, and we are very proud to be involved on this program and many others, because again, this is for the people, and as you said, it's not only the team members and all the people involved in making the project happen, but it's who is going to receive the benefit and the community, and you need to have a relationship during the construction, and then hopefully you can provide some opportunities, access to job, education, healthcare to many people, and I really love this aspect of my job.
Thank you very much. Being the leader that you are, what is the most satisfying and inspiring to you?
Wow, I think based on my experience that I grew up in Italy, and I grew up as an engineer with the Italian Railroad Authority and many other projects. I was lucky because my family gave me, the opportunity to choose, and I think I was lucky for that reason. But then, with that opportunity, I kept learning and, more importantly, challenging myself. And I was in the Middle East, and then when I moved to the US 10 years ago, I didn't speak English, so
oh my
it
God.
was not easy. And I started from zero because I went to study English, and then I started working in construction, but really from a small general contractor in Brooklyn. It was a very challenging time for me because it was a completely different experience. But then I want to say that all the sacrifices I made, I think those sacrifices brought me here today, and I'm very happy. And so I'm very grateful also because some people believed in me in America, and they gave me opportunities, and so it's a combination of factors, but I did a lot of work to be here today, so I'm very happy for that, and it's inspiring to me.
Truly heartwarming, Luigi. It's so great to hear that you cherish the supporting, people, the supporting role people had in your life to come to this country and to establish yourself and be the leader and lead one of the biggest major projects in the country. I came to this country 18 years ago. I'm an immigrant too, and I still remember the sacrifices my father and mother had to go through to send me to a country, far away, where I had my dreams in. All my dreams were, I wanted to be independent. Being a woman coming from India and being independent, and also later part of my life, I wanted to be there for my parents, help them retire happily and comfortably. So I can relate to that, and I'm really grateful that the words that you were talking about. Thank you. So I'm going to dive right in and ask you, what are the best ways to nurture and sustain relationships?
Yeah, this is a difficult question because there is not really, a formula that you can apply and follow. But honestly, I was lucky. I like people. I was able to genuinely connect with people in general, right? And I mean, people from the street, because I grew up in the street and it was a safe street, so there is nothing bad with that. But you are able to make friends and connect with people. But as I said, there is no any formula, but you need to be willing to listen, and you need to be willing to use empathy, because sometimes, you hear or you see something that you don't like, but you need to really remove the noise and go into the matter of the discussion rather than, focus on the noise. And so when you listen, you are able to better understand if there are disagreements, and you can build a good relationship. And then I think really one of the secrets is time, right? You need time, you need to invest time, and you don't build a relationship over time. So time and getting to know people will allow you to nurture and build a good relationship with everybody. So
definitely well said. Again, I can see how the factors and the fostering and nurturing heart that you have and the care that you have is going to be replicated onto the Frederick Douglass Tunnel project itself.
Thank you.
I want to close the door just a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
So the next question I would like to ask you is, this is a big project which is going to go on for years and years, and it is just the beginning.
Yes.
We're going to be learning a lot from how the first few phases go, and we're going to be implementing some of the better, can be technology, can be expertise, it can be anything else as we go for the next few phases of the project until we finish this. For this mega project so far, what has been the key learnings? If there is a way for you to say there were 3 or 5 or 2 or only one challenge that you can actually pinpoint and say that has been on this project, and also we are in the technology world, right?
Yeah.
Everything is changing day to day. So if there are any technologies that you may want to see on this project being used, what would they be?
Yeah, so first of all, I joined Amtrak 7 months ago, so I'm still learning a lot about the program, but this is maybe more based on my experience, and I may repeat the same concept. It's about the people, right? So the challenge is always communication. It's always make sure we share information and we are on the same page, and that is the challenge. And when it comes to technology, I think we have the opportunity to use a platform that you share information, and more important, information is the right one, the current one. And as you may know, our industry, construction industry, for some reasons, is very lazy in adopting to new technologies, right? Especially, I want to say on the East Coast. I know the West Coast is more into that, and I'm talking about the implementation of BIM, the building information modeling. I'm talking about project management information system where you are really working in the same platform, sharing the same information. That is something that I really want to see on this program, because it's going to be the key. Imagine how many people are involved, and not only people from your team, but people from your consultants, contractors, and also our key stakeholders. If we start sending email or sending mail, it's not going to work. I mean, we can finish in 45 years rather than following our timeline. So it's important. Collaboration and communication is the key, and new technology, it's a great tool to help us. But I said it's a tool because it's still on us to make sure we can use the tool in the most efficient and productive way. So.
Yeah, definitely. And there is another thing that struck from the presentation today that you were talking about this morning or this afternoon. You had 3 questions for the audience, and one of the questions was, what is important, technical expertise or soft skills? Everything that you mentioned in your conversation now is something to do with the soft skill, right? Like we have many engineers who are really good at designing efficient structures, but at the same time, as you said, communication, if we are not good at understanding and listening and collaborating, having that mindset, there is no chance this can be successful.
Someone, I remember very well in the audience, said both. It's true, obviously, it's true. We need technical expertise, but I think we are very good engineers, and what is sometimes a challenge is to be able to communicate and to understand each other. And I mentioned, I think, 2-3 times, communication means not talking, but listening, and we always have issues in listening, so that is the key, and I can assure you that I spend 90% of my time just talking and listening, and repeating and listening. So that's my key focus. So.
Talking, listening, repeating, listening.
Yes.
I like that.
Exactly.
When you wake up in the morning and start your day, what inspires you to be the best?
Well, I'm not sure. I can't say I'm gonna be the best, but
You are the best.
no, I mean, so I've been lucky in my life, really. So usually I wake up and I'm very positive. So I wake up very energetic, and when I leave home, I tend to smile to everyone, and most of the time, everybody smiles me back, and it's a good energy, right? And then when I arrive at the office, I think it's very inspiring, the fact that we have a plan, we have a vision, and we know what we need to do. And this is a large program that is going to last 10 years, and you cannot wait to celebrate in 2035. You need to celebrate all the intermediate milestones that we're going to achieve. It's very important to recognize that with the team. And then, honestly, the Frederick Douglass project is really inspiring because of the name, because of the positive impact it's going to be. So I'm inspired just by that. And then, honestly, the team I have, and we are a very good team, they are very talented, they are brilliant. So I'm very inspired by them, and I'm very inspired by the fact that I want to be good as they are, and I want to give them the right example every day. So that is really a daily inspiration for me.
Thank you very much.
Hi DFI, I'm Tim Siegel. I'm standing here with Tian Dong. Tian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I am a project manager working for a Malcolm Drilling Company, and I've been in this industry for 10 years. Actually, just coming up 11 years in about 2 months. Mostly doing deep foundations, soil mixings, ground improvements, shoring systems.
Awesome. Tian, what are we doing today out here?
Yeah, right here, as you can see in the background, we are building the new hospital. Today we're doing ground improvement. We're mixing 9-foot diameter soil mix columns, injecting ground into the ground with a huge paddle, mixing this ground mix in a design proportion to achieve the required bearing pressure for the new hospital.
Great. And what we're really doing is we're really taking the sand that's above probably better material bedrock, and we're turning it from just simply sand to a cemented sand.
Exactly. Yeah, you put it better than I did.
All right. Great job, Tian.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, you got it.
Another fascinating question that I really want to ask you is, you can have a traditional career path, you can have a non-traditional career path, but non-traditional career path is not that common, right? You started out as an operator, right? Operator and a designer. And how did you sculpt your future to be the leader of this major project in the country? What is the most exciting of the path that you have taken to be here?
Yeah, so honestly, I really follow the flow, if you will. I followed my gut, and I used to say, and I think I said that earlier, I was lucky because I was at the right time, at the right place, and I was always lucky to be involved on many transformational projects that inspire me to keep learning and keep looking into other projects and other opportunities. And then again, I went to the Middle East, and then I came here, and in particular in America, it's been very difficult at the beginning, but then I was able to connect with people and learning, and as someone believed in me, it gave me the opportunity to join AECOM. And then after that, someone else believed in me and asked me to join MTA, and then someone else believed in me and asked me to join Amtrak. And to me, it may be, there are less and less people that are going to say that, but to me, America is still the land of opportunities.
It is indeed.
So.
It is indeed. I do want to ask you another question. Again, in your presentation, the last slide that you had, you had the city that you come from, or the town that you come from, model of the town that your father built with all the important technologies that are advancing and growing. That being said, I want to ask you, what inspired you about your dad? Is he your role model? How does he feel of your success, and is he proud of you?
Yeah, no, my parents are proud of me, and I was already traveling and working when he retired, and then I came home and he was building this train, and it was interesting because my father didn't really, he loved the railroad, but because I was working railroad, but was not really, the railroad guy, right? But he started building this railroad with an old single track I had when I was a little boy. But then he started modeling his village, that is a small village 50 miles south of Rome, and building the postal office, the church, the mountain. And then also he started adding tracks and using some of the features of the high-speed railroad, such as a stackable bridge. So I was impressed, and then the day after, everything was electrified. He hired a professional electrician to build interlockings that are system to switch from one track to the other. It's a real railroad.
Oh my God!
And to me,
it's operational.
Yes, to me that was just his way to say that they are happy for me and for what I've been doing. I'm far away from them, but they are happy. And sometimes I feel that. I left, but the reality is they gave me the opportunity to be here, and they're happy. And I don't know if he's my mother, but I can tell you that my family gave me everything, and my father in particular, he has a lot of energy, and despite his age, he's non-stop, and it's a good model for that, yes.
I am truly honored to hear about it. We always say, when you are born and when you grow up, during your initial years of your childhood and your teenage years, father and mothers are the real role models, and also they are your mentors, and they help you to become a better person, right? Become a better person and grow. So thank you so much for sharing that part of your life. And thank you for being on the interview with the Industry podcast, and I'm truly honored to interview you and learn more about you. And I hope, as an individual and as an engineer, I will play my part in the big major project. And thank you again.
Thank you. It's a privilege, and really thank you. I mean, it was a great experience to be with you today, and thank you again.
I'm Michael Bennett. I'm a geotechnical PE at Gannett Fleming in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, and I study and collect pieces from geotech history in my spare time. So today I'll share some items linked to the U.S.'s deadliest dam failure, the Johnstown flood of 1889. I'll cover the disaster's key points today, and for those interested in further details, I recommend my ASCE Geo Institute write-up on it. The flood story began 2 centuries ago as the U.S. expanded westward and states were raking in cash with transportation assets like the Erie Canal. Pennsylvania's counterpart to that was the Main Line of Public Works, a series of railroads, canals, and inclined planes that opened in 1834, and it took travelers from Philadelphia across the Appalachian Mountains to Pittsburgh in 4 days. But the canals near Pittsburgh tended to run dry during hot summers, so state engineers designed a reservoir on the Little Conemaugh River, the South Fork of it, about 14 miles upstream of the canal terminal, which was a little backwater town named Johnstown. And the reservoir dam was built of watertight compacted clay, and it had plenty of freeboard, a controllable discharge culvert, and 2 spillways. Now, construction took over a decade because of funding shortfalls, but the dam was well built. Certainly it met the contemporary standard of care. But improved railroads across the Appalachians meant that the reservoir was obsolete within a few years of its opening in the early 1850s. The canal's days were numbered, and the dam was abandoned with predictable results. During the Civil War, it partially breached and caused a relatively minor flood in Johnstown, not much more severe than the usual spring floods that the inhabitants there had gotten accustomed to. And then the dam remnants sat exposed to the elements for another 20 years, just about. And it wasn't until the late 1870s that interest in the dam began reawakening, because the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club, a clique of wealthy Pittsburghers, purchased the embankment so that they could re-impound the lake at a reservoir as a pleasure lake to be named Lake Conemaugh. And they planned to rename the embankment the South Fork Dam. So the club started rebuilding the dam and re-impounding the reservoir, but the club's work was sloppy and careless from the start. The person in charge of the project had no engineering education or experience, and seemingly every decision on the project was made according to finances. Their decisions were disastrous. The spillway was eliminated because the top of the dam was cut down 3 feet, and that left the dam with just one spillway. The discharge conduit was removed. The old breach was backfilled with everything from boulders to plastic clays to manure, and all this was just dumped into the breach without any proper placement or diversion of the river. And a number of people noticed how poorly the work was being done, including a few trained engineers in Johnstown, which by then was a prosperous steel town. But the club brushed aside those worries and opened the lake for its rich members in 1881. Now, locals initially feared that the South Fork Dam would break during a rainstorm, but the dam held strong throughout the 1880s, and those worries steadily faded. But on May 30th, 1889, an overnight rainstorm, a 2% annual probability event, much likelier than anything that modern dam designers would consider as a worrisome event, dumped 6 to 7 inches of rain on Lake Conemaugh, and by the next morning the lake was rising 9 to 10 inches per hour. The lone remaining spillway didn't do much to stave off disaster, and water began overtopping the dam late that morning. Now, people at and near the scene sent a few frantic warning messages down the Little Conemaugh Valley to try to awaken locals to the threat, but the locals were jaded. They didn't take the warning seriously anymore, which was singularly unfortunate. Eventually, the overtopping waters began eroding a head cut into the poorly rebuilt dam. That head cut migrated upstream until it reached the lake and breached the dam. And then seconds after that, the dam failed catastrophically via sliding. It had been saturated and leaky before the storm, and as the lake rose, the dam just got worse and worse in this regard. And that final dramatic breach let loose an angry, roaring torrent of water into the valley below. And the damage those waters did as they tore through the valley was indescribable. The term tsunami would describe the event far more accurately than the very gentle-sounding flood. And the wave demolished most of the valley, as well as Johnstown, which was the largest town in the vicinity, hence Johnstown flood. And the numbers of the disaster only tell part of the story, but they still speak volumes. Nearly 12,000 acre-feet of water poured out of the lake, about 16 million tons. Killed roughly 2,500 people, and did nearly $130 million worth of damage in current USD to the valley. So word of the disaster quickly spread across the country, and intense newspaper coverage of it ensued for weeks. And the National Guardsmen and volunteers who traveled to Johnstown to help clean it up, a process which took months, were joined by scores of journalists, and pretty soon dozens of books on the tragedy appeared. Those range from survivors' accounts, like this one by the Reverend Dr. David Beale, to attempts at impartial narratives of the disaster, like this one by J.J. McLaurin of the Harrisburg Telegram, to books that were kind of pulpy and written more for sensationalism and sales than accuracy, like this one by Willis Fletcher Johnson. Now, the ranks of journalists who came to the valley included many engineering correspondents. A number of stories on the disaster appeared in issues of Engineering News, such as these. And Every detail of the dam's sloppy reconstruction was brought to light, and the public outcry against the club was intense, but its former members remained some of our country's most powerful and influential men, and they put their connections to use. All the flood damage cases against the club failed, no federal or state dam safety laws were passed, and the club even quietly influenced ASCE's investigation of the disaster, which concluded that the tragedy could not have been prevented despite abundant evidence to the contrary. And so all these years later, the disaster still reminds us that the most effective safeguard against human self-interest is using the demands of conscience to reinforce the dictates of law. So thank you for joining me today, and until next time, I'm Michael Bennett, signing off for DFI.